Good evening.
Good evening, Pradeep.
We are talking about your book, The Revolutionaries Shed Their Blood for India's Independence, Part 2.
हाँ जी,
And you are Justice S N Aggarwal, former Judge Punjab and Haryana High Court.
that's right. That's
So we are today talking about the situation in the country after independence.
हाँ जी, that is
So uh, uh, after independence, a prime minister was to be elected, and the constitution was also to be made or adopted.
हाँ जी.
And so, uh, how the country reacted after independence and how it stood on its feet after independence.
Actually, Pradeep ji, we got independence on 15th August 1947. But the British had expressed their intention on March 5, 1946 that they would be going from India. So on December 5 or 15, 1946, we constituted a committee for framing the Constitution of India. So that proceeding went on and it was completed on November 1949, but was to be adopted with effect from January 1950. So we are discussing the period between after 1947. So
And please.
the version, it was like this in the country that the earlier president of Congress party had completed his term in mid 46 and the elections were due for the next president of Congress. So votes were invited from 15 Congress committees. They were all 15 Congress committees. And each party had one vote. Each Congress committee had one vote. Out of 15 votes, 12 votes were cast in favor of Sardar Patel. So whosoever became the Congress president in 1946 was to become first prime minister of the country. But unfortunately, Nehru was declared as president, Congress president.
He was nominated by Mahatma Gandhi.
He was nominated by Mahatma Gandhi. A country which was going to be a democratic country had the first prime minister undemocratically.
And Mahatma Gandhi also did not respect the verdict of various committees.
That is right. That is, otherwise, if he had liked, he would have allowed Sardar Patel to become the first prime minister, Congress president, and first prime minister.
Or he could have requested those committees to reconsider their voting pattern or something like that.
No, he had no right to do that because voting was already done and he cannot say, recast your votes.
Yeah.
He was to take a decision on the voted, already votes were cast.
Yes.
So, but ultimately, I have written a book on this. Had Sardar Patel been the first prime minister, which shows how Nehru became the prime minister.
And when Mahatma Gandhi was shot at?
He was in January 30, 1948.
Acha. In 1948 he died.
Huh.
And he took prime ministership in 1950.
Who?
Nehru.
1947 itself.
I was seeing on Google this Wikipedia.
No. The first line is we got independence on August 15, 1947 midnight, and Jawaharlal Nehru became the first prime minister of free India. Courtesy Gandhi ji.
When Nehru became prime minister, so he Nehru became the interim prime minister of India in September 46. He was interim prime minister. He was
That was
interim prime.
because he was the Congress president, declared Congress president. That is why he was the interim prime minister.
And full prime minister he became in 1950.
47, 15 August 1940, when British people had gone.
Acha, at that time he became the prime minister.
हाँ,
Okay. And Mountbatten also continued for some time.
yes,
Continue.
Mountbatten was allowed to remain Governor General of India till June 1948.
Okay. Here I am seeing he was in office from 26 January 1950 to 27 May 1964. Nehru was in office from 26 January 1950.
It can't be Pradeep ji.
No,
It's wrong.
I am seeing from this thing.
No, no, it
From,
is wrong. It is wrong. From
Acha.
15 August 15, he had declared the speech, he had made the statement in the midnight of August 14 and August 15. Pakistan
Mhm.
had become independent on August 14, 1947, and
Mhm.
we had become independent on August 15, 1947.
Okay. Okay, we will check this again. This historical fact. Okay. So what happened after that?
So, there were more than 500 princely states,
Mhm.
and the duty was assigned in 1946 by Mountbatten to Sardar Patel to consolidate India and adjust Indian princely states in India. Merge those princely states. Sardar Patel had no problem with any other state except Junagadh, Kashmir, and Hyderabad. Junagadh was merged in November 47.
Mhm.
Kashmir had merged in India in October 48.
Mhm.
And Hyderabad army forces were sent in Hyderabad
Mhm.
in on September 13.
Okay, so what happened when Mr. Nehru happened? There was no
Nehru,
there was no Nehru.
Nehru had different principles of governance, while Sardar Patel had different. Sardar Patel was 4 5 principles for him, which he had upheld.
Mhm.
Number one, patriotism. Number two, communal harmony. Number three, high moral values and ethics. Number four, high character. And number five, discipline. All these things were contrary to Nehru. Nehru was habitual to misuse the official position.
Okay.
Moral values didn't matter to him, and
Okay.
high character he did not like to hold. So that way, that was the bad luck for the country by the introduction of Nehru, by installation of Nehru on the chair of prime minister. So, as I mentioned in 1958,
And
when
other than Patel, was there nobody else who could challenge Nehru?
there was none, because Mahatma Gandhi's dictate was final for everybody. For that reason, also Sardar Patel didn't speak a word after his nomination by Gandhi. He said he is our master.
Mhm.
There were many people. I although that is, kindly stop recording. Uh,
No, no, we will discuss later on.
हाँ ठीक है. अच्छा 1950 की I was talking about 1950 when he was revolutionaries had called a meeting in Delhi. Nehru thought of inviting them for a cup of tea.
Mhm.
So he invited the revolutionaries
Mhm.
and they came to attend the tea party hosted by Nehru.
Mhm.
Son Singh Pakna, he was one of those patriots who had undergone torture or humiliation in the cellular jail. He caught hold of Nehru by the arm and told him that everywhere you are telling the people that you had got independence without shedding a drop of blood. Do you know what do you mean by this? Ask us who have suffered humilities from the British rulers. So he said that please respect the martyrs. So as Nehru followed it, so Indira Gandhi was elected and she became the prime minister. She imposed this emergency, and the constitution was beaten away. Although the term of parliament was 5 years for her, remaining in power, she extended to 6 years. Then the opposition became, when the emergency was revoked, then this Janata Party couldn't do long. In 1980, she was back again. She, in the meantime, she had propped up when the union in 2005, UPA government came in power. Sonia Gandhi was the overall in charge. Manmohan Singh was the prime minister. She got the she got from the prime minister relief fund thousands of crores, hundreds of crores in for Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. If the prime minister should also have refused, I have mentioned it on page 271. Similarly, Rahul Gandhi, which is so-called Neta of today, on April 3, 2021, he was giving an interview to a foreigner, to American uh, correspondent. He said BJP had indulged in wholesale capture of institutions. What the America is doing about it? I thought the revolution had thrown out the foreigners, and he is inviting the Americans to the country for interfering in the governance of the country. So now we come to chapter 24.
And one more thing comes to mind is that we understand that because of Subhash Chandra Bose and other revolutions, we got the independence.
Huh,
But most of them were either martyred or killed or sidelined.
huh.
So the only figure, tall figure left in the country was Mahatma Gandhi
Yes, at the time of independence.
at the time. So he was the tallest figure. So whatever he spoke was the law at that time.
That's right.
And Congress was the only party, I think, at that time.
That
Was
is
there
right.
any was there any
No,
opposition to Congress
no,
party?
no, 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 no.
So it was single party at that
Uh-huh.
time.
Hmm.
Oh, oh.
Jansangh had come into being somewhere in 1945 or 46, etc., by
Hmm.
Shama Prasad Mukherjee, who was the first prime minister in the first cabinet.
Actually, he was there. So he must be in Congress,
He was Jansangh at that time.
but still he was minister in Congress government.
He was a minister in Congress government.
Okay, so next is the speech of PM Narendra Modi at the launch of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahoatsav on March 12, 2021.
Hanji. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a speech on March 12, 2021, which was the anniversary of Dandi Yatra.
Mhm.
In his speech on that, he gave it the name of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. It was started 75 weeks before the 75th anniversary of independence, which was going to take place in 15 August, on 15 August 2022, which has already been celebrated. This celebration would take 1 year more till 15 August 2023.
Mhm.
So in this, he paid tributes to all the big leaders, including revolutionaries. It is for the first time that that the tributes were being paid to the revolutionary patriots also. And it was this speech which inspired me to write a book on the revolutionaries.
And sir, one thing more comes to mind is that during
Hanji,
partition,
Hanji,
about 1 million people died or they were injured.
Hanji.
So, is there any mention of that horrific incident in your books somewhere?
Yes, it is mentioned either in my book, Nehru's Himalayan Blenders, or
Okay.
in Sardar Patel's book. I think it is mentioned in Sardar Patel. We had Sardar Patel been the first prime minister.
Because so many people were killed and they were displaced from their
Yes,
places. So it was a
yes,
great humanitarian crisis at that time.
yes, yes, that's
So,
right. So this
so
way, Prime Minister Modi also declared that he has started so many schemes for the welfare of the country, like cleanliness, like Make in India, and others also. So that have been discussed by me in chapter 25.
and will you like to say something about PM speech?
PM's speech, it was a brilliant speech. It paid
Mhm.
tribute to the revolutionaries also for their contribution, valuable contribution towards the independence of India. And virtually, he said that within he was prolonging the Azadi ka Amrit Mahoatsav so that every revolutionary's birth anniversary or death anniversary, Punyatithi are included in this period. So since it was completed, running more than 1 year, so everybody's happy birthday or martyrdom day was included in this period. So very beautiful speech he made.
And one thing more comes to mind is that whether Britishers united the country before leaving, before leaving, or
Uh, uh,
during their rule of 300 years or so.
what do you mean by United India?
No, no, there were so many princely states or
No,
so
no, no.
many.
They left the problem for us to handle.
No, when they left, they kept the problem for us. But when they ruled,
Huh.
they defeated all the kings, etc., various rival groups, and formed one country. Is that true?
Really, there were two Indias at that time when the British left. It was Princely India and British India. British India was which was ruled by the Governor General, and Princely State was governed by the Vice.
Tipu Sultan or Bahadur Shah Jafar or so many. There
There
were.
were 58. There are 57, 1857 people.
Mhm. So, but the Britishers were there na, at that time.
Yes, British were there. The fight was against the British people.
So Britishers defeated them, and
Huh.
then they took over all those kingdomship and then made one country. Is that true?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. They left the princely states separately. That's what I am saying. There were two Indias at the time
Okay.
when British left India.
Hmm.
One was British India, which was governed by the
Governor General.
Governor General,
Hmm.
and the other was the Princely India. The
Answer.
princes were left free to govern their own matters,
Okay.
but they were helped by the British regime uh, by in railway matter, for example, which was common to all, which they didn't have, the state didn't have their own control.
And princely states were around 540 or something like that.
More than 150, 550, more than 150 were left with India. 5, 7 principalities were in Pakistan. For
Acha.
example, Balochistan was a separate state, princely state,
Okay.
which was forcibly taken by Jinnah.
Acha, most of the princely states were in present
With
Pakistan.
us.
In
Yes.
with the present Pakistan.
With the present India,
Acha, most were in India. Acha.
more than 550, 550, more
Acha.
than that,
Were in
and
India. Acha.
India.
Hmm.
And the only three-fourths princely states were in Pakistan.
So the next is the message of revolutionaries: love your nation, serve the countrymen.
Hanji.
So
So this chapter is addressed by me to the young generation or to the students because we had closed the chapter Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose with the word "Ab tumhare hawale watan sathiyo," which meant we gave our today for the independence of the country, and "Ab tumhare hawale watan sathiyo," which was meant for the rulers of India and the citizens of India. So I have given them uh, a mention here that British had decided on March 5, 1946 to leave India, that which has been discussed in chapter 21, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose or trial of INA soldiers.
hmm,
So then December 9, 1946,
hmm,
the Constituent Assembly was constituted. On
hmm,
December 9,
hmm. Ji.
on December 9, 1946, the Constitution Assembly was constituted, and our Constitution was completed on November 26, 1949, but it was made applicable with effect from January 26, 1950, by
Hmm.
which we had given justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity to every Indian citizen. I have mentioned that our glorious heritage starts from 5,000 years BC, by which in which we had given Vedas to us. Then I discussed Shri Ram, Bhagwan Shri Ram, then Bhagwan Shri Krishna, where our rishis happy till then Bhagwan Buddha and um, वाल्मीकि स्वामी स्वामी तुलसीदास स्वामी दयानंद कबीर ये सारे then made reference to it. And on the political side also Chandragupta Maurya, Ashoka and Maharana Pratap, all references made to all. Then Guru Gobind Singh left the fort on December 20, 1704, post the Samvat 1761, and then his younger sons were separated from him when they were bricked alive in the wall. On that, when Sir Gobind Singh came to know of it, he put up he a plant from the tree and said, "Now this is the end of the Mughal regime." So Mughal regime virtually finished in on January on June 23, 1757, when the War of Plassey had taken place, then the British came to power.
Okay.
So I have also mentioned that यूनाने मिस्र रोमांच सब मिट गए जहां से कुछ बात है कि हम में के बस नाम निशान हमारा कुछ बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी सदियों रहा है दुश्मन दौरे जुमा हमारा. So after independence, then Sardar Patel integrated, it's mentioned on page 287, 552 princely states in India within a period of 2 years, from 1947 to 1949.
Mhm.
All the states were integrated in India. only Nawab of Junagadh had acceded to Pakistan, but he was made to surrender to India on November. Similarly, Hyderabad taken over by us by forcibly on September 17, 1948. So Dr. Abdul Kalam is also mentioned, missile man. And then, therefore, dear youth, I have addressed to the students about their duty to make India shine in supports in Swachh Bharat mission and Azadi and rejuvenation of urban towns. Many things which were the duties of the students to serve the nation and the country by remembering the sacrifices of revolutionaries who died for us so that we may breathe in independent India. So that is the end, Pradeep ji. This book, it would be better appreciated by reading it. And
Yes.
so many means the right from 1857 till the independence of India, the revolutionaries suffered for us. Although they were knowing that they are giving their lives away, but they did it for us. And it is our duty to serve the country and the countrymen.
So this book, these two books, these books in part two, they are
Hanji,
they contains very valuable compilation of various historical facts and
Hanji,
the interpretations and the views of others also. So I think one must read these books to know more
Hanji.
about our this
Our glorious heritage and our
and
contribution of the revolutionaries for the independence of our country and
yes,
our duties to do.
yes, very nice, very nice. Right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Pradeep.
Thank you.
Thank you.